today I will be talking about how to really increase business results in your business, or to become a serial, a leader within your industry. And the one thing that people actually prevents them from doing that is being able to really continuously have control over what their team may be doing or what's happening within their business. So let me ask you this. Have you ever caught yourself caught up in the detail of all the projects that are happening, and you nitpicking every little thing, not nitpicking, but just really caught up on the detail, and you're not allowing your team to share a space to be able to really share their brilliance? Are you afraid of someone really taking your place within your business? Are you afraid of someone, within your business or within your team that might be actually better at what you do? How has this really affected your productivity? Has it caused you to be really caught up in other projects and not really keeping a detail focused on one thing at a time? And how has this affected your relationships with your team? And if you're on your own in business, how has this affected your relationships with, the closest people around you, with your family? If you answered any of those, yes, I really get that, I understand that, then I'm actually talking to you. I'm talking to you if you are in business, or if you are in some sort of leadership role where you may have a team, or you work with a number of people in being able to create projects from the ground up. So the key thing to being able to really be a great leader in business or in some sort of leadership role is clarity. Clarity is key. Really knowing and understanding each individual that you may be working with, so within your team, or if you outsource any of your work, really understanding and knowing the people that you are allowing to be part of, your business or your projects, and knowing what your bigger vision and your why is, so what your purpose is for doing this. So a CEO or a business leader needs to know at least three things that they're going to achieve. So the outcome, what is the purpose in doing this? If there's no clarity around that, no one else will be able to follow and be able to really be innovative in your team to create something, brilliant. So clarity is key with any sort of leadership role, and also being able to see also be after the what's next, because your team or the people that you work with only see what's happening in the detail of the project at that time, and not necessarily what's happening afterwards in terms of the what's next. And that could be either, the next level in your values ladder. If you don't know what your values ladder is, it's the next level up in terms of what your offerings are. Or it could be a monetary value. So you may do these in your financial forecasting for every quarter, or even, yearly, whatever it might be, however you organize your business. So clarity is key. That is the number one thing. Knowing each individual person and how they tick, what their weaknesses are, what their strengths are, and also really allowing space for them to be able to share their brilliance. And to be able to do this is to have some sort of conscious awareness in knowing the people that you're actually working with and having to deal with. So the first step in really mastering, better business results, whether it be by yourself or with your team, is mastering the inner game. This is the number one key for any sort of person in any sort of leadership or business position to be able to create exponential growth, is understanding and really mastering the inner game. So you might be thinking, okay, so what is this inner game? So the inner game is really being consciously aware of your thoughts, your emotions, what's important to you, and also what triggers you to be able to really overcome these things quite quickly, in being able to create cohesiveness and harmony within your team or within your business within itself. So a lot of the time, I actually say, I have this saying, if you've got junk in your trunk, you need to be consciously aware of what that is and know how to clear that really quickly. And the way that you clear that is through some really fantastic techniques that I actually teach in my NLP practitioner training, which is the Leadership Accelerator, to be able to clear these things out within minutes. So you might find yourself going to, say, another coach or a therapist, where you might go and see them, I don't know, for 6, 8, 12 months, sometimes even years, and you're still working on this junk in this trunk. However, with the techniques that I actually teach, you can get rid of these in a matter of minutes, which is pretty profound, seeing as though you can really accelerate the results that you achieve within your business, or even within your team. So really understanding and mastering the inner game. And the one thing that actually inhibits leaders to be really strong, and also really really great leaders, is knowing how to not have any attachment to control. Okay, so there is a bit of a paradox here, because in order to have control, you also need to not have control to be able to create results, but you need both to create the results, right? But the thing is, if you are coming from a place where control is driven by fear, you are actually working from a space where you are making decisions from a reactive state rather than a critical thinking, logical state. So being able to have control and oversee what is actually happening without having any sort of emotional negative attachment to it, to allow people to grow, and also to be able to do what they do in terms of do what they're experts in, to be able to create a profound project in terms of results. So and that also goes into being able to know how to hire the right people, and being also understanding what it takes to fulfill that role, to create those experts within that role. And I see this in so many big companies and corporations, where they will hire based on someone because they're nice, because they spoke well, they had a great resume, or they believed they could fulfill the role. But the key thing is knowing, and this is also within yourself, is knowing what the values are of the person and what solutions they can provide to the problems. So that's the key in understanding whether or not they can actually be an expert within that field. Doesn't matter whether it's in sales, marketing, admin, whatever it might be, bookkeeping, as long as you know they can provide a better system, or they can provide a solution to that particular role. And if you are finding that you are being triggered by that person, and when I say triggered, is when someone does something and it creates a negative state or a negative emotion within yourself. And sometimes it takes a bit of conscious awareness to actually realize that this is actually happening, because there are many people, especially leaders, and I've seen in, really high positions in CEOs or managing directors, that move through their role, they get triggered, and they're not understanding why the other person's being reactive, because they're creating conflict within the environment. So really understanding, if this person's saying pissing me off, okay, what is it they're actually doing that I need to learn in order for me to create an environment of growth? Because a leader is supposed to lead their people to their best potential for them to grow, right? And if you aren't creating that environment within yourself to allow others to do that within that environment, sorry to say, but you're literally just creating a zoo, because people are just going to go and do their own thing, and they're going to either do nothing, or they're going to do it their own way. There's no structure and systems and process in place for them to actually follow the lead to do that. So being able to have control without any attachment to that, and allow a space and environment for them to actually have some autonomy for their own growth as well. If this is resonating with you, drop me some comments below, type me, and I'd love to know. So the second thing is to becoming a really serial business leader or an entrepreneur is becoming an authority in your field. So when I say by becoming an authority figure is becoming an expert, right? Now, you may have a business where you are really good at multiple different things. However, it's you know that you need to outsource these things. Being able to know that you're good at what you do allows you to know how to choose someone that is aligned to you to be able to fill that role. If it's just you, then become an expert. If you don't have the knowledge and the skills, continuously upskill and learn to be able to do that. Surround yourself with the right people. If you don't know who, find out who you need to actually surround yourself in order to up level your credibility within your field to be able to be seen as an authority figure. And this also is really important, in business, people that are in business, that it comes down to also your branding and how you market yourself, what kind of places you would like to be seen, where you go, who you speak to, and really having a solid understanding of who you are and also who you need to become. So I have this thing in one of my programs, in my workshop seminars, is I teach people this be, do, have concept, where you need to become the person who you want to be in order to do what you need to do, and then to have what you want. So you need to create this person within your mind and then become that person, step into that person as though you are them right now. And if you don't have the skills and the mindset to be able to do that, find a coach, find someone who can actually break through your barriers, break through anything that's holding you back, give you the strategies that you need to be able to, accelerate your results and create, much, more money in your business, cohesion within your teams, as well as clarity within yourself and who you are and what your mission and what your why is, and also to have that continual passion in what you're doing so it doesn't fizzle out. So number 2, become an authority figure in your field. Okay, so number 3 is actually understanding the different hats that you may have to wear within your business. So that may even be if you are a CEO, right? Because you oversee so many different things that at times you may actually need to step in and, take over something because there may be lacking of some sort, because there's a weakness in skill set with those people. So you need to take charge in order to make that happen, to create the results. So there's this thing that I teach called, you are either the entrepreneur, the technician, or you are actually the manager. There are 3 types of hats that you might wear, and sometimes you may need to change through these through different times of your business. When you are in a leadership role and you are in charge of leading a team, the serial entrepreneurial leader hat must come on, because people will look up to you for guidance and support. And when they don't know, and they will look at you for that assistance and that mentorship and that help and that guidance to be able to get to where they need to get in order for them to create the results, and in turn for you to create the results within your business as well. And then at times you may need to be the manager. You may need to put the managerial hat on, and the managers are more inclined to look and focus on, the numbers, where they're heading, whether it be a month, weekly, what their daily goals are. So they're very much caught in the detail. The entrepreneurs are more bigger picture people, right? Because they're leading, they're more visionary. So the managers are really caught up in the details. They're really in tune with what the numbers are, what each person is doing, whether it be just you, what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, how you're spending your time, what your monetary value is for your time, whether or not you are actually doing tasks that are revenue generating or not, and being able to really assess that. So that's the managerial role. You really focus on the processes and also the systems that are in place and how to manipulate those and fix those to make the system much more efficient and less stress. So we all want to be in a business where we don't want to stress, and the easiest way to do that is to create the right systems. And that's when the managerial hat comes on. And then you may have to put the technician hat on. So at times you may find that you may have a sales team and you want to see what they actually do in the field, right? You want to go out and find out how they're building relationships, how they're acquiring new leads, how they're developing business contracts, whatever it might be. So you may go out and spend a day in the field with one of your sales team to be able to really understand what it is they're doing and what they need to learn from you. So if that's what you're good at in terms of, if you run a business and your strengths are actually sales, it might be marketing, whatever it might be, you may need to step in and put that hat on and be the technician and really share your brilliance in all the technical stuff that what you do. So previously, before I became a business development, leadership, personal development coach, I was actually a naturopath and personal trainer. So I was really good at all the technical stuff that had to do with natural medicine, fitness. I could rattle to you all the stuff to do with, plant medicine as well as nutrition, and tell you how to heal yourself and so forth. And I was great at that, but I was never really clear on how to become that entrepreneur, that visionary leader, to be able to really understand how to flip that hat over to the other one. And that prevented me from actually growing in my business. And being an entrepreneur or a business leader is not something that you're born with. It's something that's like a skill. You have to develop the skill. You need to be able to exercise the muscle in order for the muscle to grow and become stronger, and also to become conditioned, which is resilience, to withstand any sort of challenges or obstacles that it might have in the future. So being a leader is constant, a constant journey of exercising those skills. So knowing which hat to actually switch through is super important in being able to develop cohesion and also accelerate the results within your team or within yourself as a business leader. Okay, so number 4 is actually decreasing conflict. So we may find at times, and this is going to happen, that you may come across conflict within your business, whether you are working as a solopreneur, if you outsource things, or whether or not you have a team of however many you have in your team. All people think differently, all people function differently, all people work differently, but by really understanding how to reduce conflict before it actually, accelerates to something that's out of control is key as a leader, to be able to really put out fires very quickly. And the way to do this is to really establish what values each person has, to understand how they think and how are they actually basing all their decisions from, because we all base our decisions from our values, which create our belief systems, and then in turn creates what attitude we are actually, running on a day-to-day basis. So knowing what values each person, and you can do this as a team bonding exercise. Take them out to the park, sit them down, ask them, hey guys, what's important to you about being here? What's important to you about, working in this business or company? What's important to you about being X position? Okay. And then really getting clear on the timing of being able to put out these fires, so you are not letting it lapse for so long for the Chinese whispers to increase, and slowly it'll be lost in translation, and it has nothing to do with what's in the end, what the conflict is really about. So really nipping it in the bud as soon as possible in an assertive, but also in a compassionate way as well. So there is times where I have seen by many leaders and managers where they will go in and they will be quite direct and quite negative towards that person in asking them, why did you do this, and so forth. So the key is getting them to think and for them to come up with a solution as to why the conflict has arisen, and also what is the solution for them for it to be resolved, rather than just coming up with one solution that fits you, which might not actually resonate for them. So really getting clear on timing. The third thing, decreasing conflict, is also setting clear boundaries. So I don't mean by saying you are down here and I'm up here, so you have to listen to me. What I'm saying is having clear boundaries on timing, clear boundaries on what's expected, clear boundaries of being able to communicate effectively, so what you expect them to be able to achieve, and also clear boundaries around creating a positive environment. So you want people to be working in an empowering environment to create empowering decisions, which in turn creates phenomenal results. So that is the only way to be able to really influence someone in being able to really work efficiently, is by creating the right environment. So the way to do this, and when you have come across any sort of conflict, or you wanting to really give your input without coming across in a negative way, is using this thing called sandwich feedback. And I learned this back when I first started NLP, and this is what I teach all my clients, all my students. Is when you are working with a team, even if you have outsourced your project to someone else and you aren't happy with it, but you are still wanting to work with them, is tell them something they've done great, something that they need to improve on, and what did they do good overall. So that's sandwiching the negative between two positive things. So they're feeling they're in a positive state, then they know what they need to change, and then leaving it on a positive note, so they're empowered to take action from there to really make a change. So they're the 5 steps. So mastering the inner game, becoming an authority figure in your field, understanding the different hats that you may have to wear, decreasing conflict, and also the 5th one, using sandwich feedback. So they're the 5 things. So if this was something that really resonated with you, give me a thumbs up or some love. I'd love to know, because I'm so passionate about really creating visionary leaders who know how to lead and really change the game of business, and also in executive positions.